Welcome back, everybody. So excited to continue our Accountant Showcase series where we are going outside the US today and speaking with Alasdair Milroy, who is in Guernsey in the Channel Islands, and very excited to have you on today. Alasdair, please, thanks. First off, thanks for taking time out to do this and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me on the show. It's really nice to have a chat with you. Yeah, a little bit about myself. I'm a chartered accountant. I first qualified in the early 90s in Australia, in Sydney, where I worked for a two-practice firm. Really grew up after a short stint in audit, learning small business accounting and getting everything from shoe boxes and building cash books through to doing family offices. Pretty sort of standard background in accounting. From there, moved into coming overseas, worked in the UK and elsewhere internationally. Moved into fund administration, had a stint in banking, and for the last 15 or 16 years, I've been based in Guernsey in the fiduciary and trust market up until last year when I started my own practice at the start of lockdown. So timed it well.
Right. Now, how did this all get started? Right? How did you get into this industry? Was it something you always dreamed about? Was it something you fell into? Would somebody inspire you? Can you tell us that backstory?
Yeah, I was keen to. I came to Guernsey probably for a lifestyle choice after working in the UK and London, particularly for the last 3 or 4 years. Guernsey's got a pretty vibrant financial services sector. So I had the opportunity to come here in 2006, and I worked in a trust fiduciary role. And in 2016, I joined a company which was focused on the super yacht market. That gave me a good 4 or 5 years to sort of get to know people in this market, and also see some of the challenges. And with these very specific assets, they're moving around. You've got people keeping records on board. You've got multi-jurisdictional structures with very high net worth individuals behind them. And that brings its own complexities to things like VAT and accounting records, and also often having more than one party involved in the ownership structure, maybe having a yacht manager, and the industry really hasn't probably grasped as much as they could from the technology and the sort of cloud accounting benefits that I first saw in about 2012. Xero came across my desk, and it really excited me because having come from that background of dealing with clients coming in with check stubs and building cash receipt books and cash payments books, seeing what cloud accounting could do, I could see the opportunity and the value there very quickly.
Yeah, you adopted to the whole technology aspect prior to the pandemic, and that was my next question, is that yourself, right? And where are you seeing the accounting industry, let's say 3 to 5 years ago to where it is now, and where do you see it going based on your experience? Can you share some thoughts there?
Yeah. I think there'll always be room for compliance. I think there's definitely going to be more and more automation. We're seeing some of the IT and tech sort of companies bringing their own, even incorporating accounting services or bookkeeping services into their own products. I think QuickBooks are doing that. So there's certainly some threats, but I think there'll always be the human element. And for me, that being able to do more than just present the accounts and numbers, but being able to tell a story and actually work within a business is where I can see the value in accountants going forward and accounting. And that's I think the technology has really allowed, you can see it as a threat, or you can see it as actually it's a way of being able to release some of the time from compliance tasks and actually work a lot closer with your clients and add a lot more value.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and technology, you can love it, you can hate it, you have to embrace it. And it's the reason why we're here today, right? I'm in New York City, and we're able to have this conversation, which is the awesome thing. And I've worked remotely for 4 years in this position. And 5 years ago, or 4 years ago, when I said the word remote or virtual, calls would just simply end, right? And now realizing that you can hire outside your city, state, country, it's made everyone realize about global resources and the opportunities that are there. But it doesn't happen without technology, and so it's very important that folks in this industry understand and embrace it, right? And figure out what's the best way to approach it. And so, what are your thoughts on? I mean, you're in a very unique industry. What are your thoughts on, creating a niche practice for an accounting firm? Expert tip per se.
Yeah, it's certainly, it takes some. I think it takes resilience. I'm very much nearly 2 years down the line, and still got a lot to do. I'm really trying to focus on content development and getting a message out there. And I think in a niche, you really have to focus on educating your clients as well, and educating your marketplace on perhaps what you can bring. Because I think for what I've seen in my experience, often people don't know what they don't know, right? They don't, and there's a piece that you need to bring and say, look, this is what this technology can bring. This is how it can improve your service. And I was on a call this morning talking to a girl. The yacht market's very traditional. People still hold their clients quite close. There's probably, I see in the accounting industry, there's probably a lot more collaboration and talk between accountants than in yachting. It's people do protect their client relationships because they're high net worth, and so there's that's the difference, I think, that needs to come through on that and really bring that forward.
Yeah, you could be a generalist and work with any industry, but you're spot on. If you want to focus on a niche practice, you got to immerse yourself in it, right? Know it in and out.
Yeah.
Be able to provide deep insight to the clients, and then when clients start realizing, wow, you're extremely valuable, and they start telling their friends and colleagues, and next thing you know, you have a word of mouth practice starting off the kick-started off the ground, and then you become that go-to person. And you're absolutely right with the content too. So it's not just being compliance and working as an accountant, it's being a creative, insightful business owner, and how to really assist your clients. And so I appreciate that insight. And any final thoughts before?
Certainly. Yeah, on yacht, particularly in yachting, there's some real challenges. I mean, the market, actually, the pandemic's created a real boom. The sales of super yachts and build contracts are at record levels, but that's bringing its own challenges to the industry in terms of how do you get the people involved in the industry to service these clients, to the artisans to build the yachts. And it's taken a real think of probably what was a lot of people saw yachting as we'll do it for a few years, travel, see the world, then go and do something else. And I think the industry is going through a bit of a maturity phase of how do we attract that resource? How do we get different diversities becoming very talked about? Sustainability, which yachts aren't environmentally friendly general, in terms of the thing, but how to really bring sustainability into this market, and how to manage there's a real intergenerational transition of wealth over the next 10 years from one generation to another, how that's going to impact as well. So it's quite, it's an exciting time. But getting to know your niche and really immersing yourself in that's definitely
And
a good part
so
of it.
when you're not working with clients, are you on your own yacht? What do you like to do for fun?
I wish. No, I'm very much into my cycling, a bit of sea swimming. I would love to have a small yacht. I did a holiday in the Greek islands about 2 years ago, just before COVID, with my family and my brother's family, and yeah, it was fantastic. So that's certainly a dream in the next couple of years to
Yeah.
do some yachting, albeit on a much smaller yacht than some of the ones that I look after in this industry.
Yeah, I'm the same. I used to be a lifeguard about 20 years ago, and I love the water. If I had to pick like between I hate heights, so a plane or a boat, yacht, all day long. I agree. Well, hey, thanks for taking time out today to talk about this. The idea here is to bring awareness to the accounting industry, and it's not just compliance. I mean, you're working with high net worth individuals and literally helping them in all different aspects and with their yachts. And so, I mean, I think that's absolutely cool. Appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, just a final thing on that, and I think part of the education is actually around the security side of the cloud accounting and managing that offshoring aspect. And yeah, that's part of the message you need to get out there as well. So no, thanks for having me on and talking, and I look forward to being in touch soon.
All righty. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Cheers.